The Little House by Virginia Lee Burton. Once there was a little house that lived in the country. She was a pretty little house, built with strong wood, had nice little shutters and a cute little chimney up top. Her owner was very proud of her. "She shall never be sold for gold or silver," he said, "and one day our great-great-grandchildren's great-great-grandchildren shall live in her." Every morning she would watch the sunrise, and each evening she'd watch the sunset, painting the sky with beautiful colors. Each night she'd watch the moon wax and wane, and off in the distance she could see the lights of the city, and sometimes she wondered what it would be like to live there. Day followed day and the seasons changed, but the little house remained the same. Each spring she'd greet the first robin and watch the apple trees grow green with new leaves and then burst into bloom. During the long days of summer, she'd watch the daisies wave from across the road in the sunlight. And in the fall, the children would pick big, red, juicy apples off the trees. Well, years passed, and the lights of the city grew closer and closer. One day she saw a car pass. It was very noisy. It was kind of curious. She'd never seen one of those before. Pretty soon she was seeing more and more of them, and less horses with their wagons. Until finally she didn't see any more horses at all. And then one day a big steam shovel came and tore up the daisies. Imagine that? Well, they put a new road down where the daisies had been. And soon bigger cars were coming out, trucks. They built more houses, and then they built stores and schools, garages, factories. Pretty soon the little house was surrounded. She was living in the city now. Her nights were no longer peaceful, and the lights from the street lamps would block out the stars. Everything was noisy. They built a subway tunnel underneath her, and it used to shake her all hours of the night and day. Dust and smoke choked the air around her. It cracked her paint and rusted the hinges on her shutters, which hung crookedly. But inside she was still strong, but very sad. She missed the daisies waving and the moon and the trees dancing in the moonlight. Well, then one spring day, a woman stopped in front of her. The woman was very curious about her. Something about the house seemed familiar. And then she realized it looked like the house her grandmother had grown up in. The woman was the great-granddaughter of the man who'd built her. Well, when she found out it was the house her grandmother had grown up in, she went and asked the movers if they would be able to move the little house. And so they had a look. They poked and they prodded and they crawled underneath her crawl space, and sure enough, she was still in good shape. She was still strong. So they loaded her up on a big truck, and away they went. Past the skyscrapers and the subways, past the stores and the garages and the schools, over the bridges, through fields and forests, until they reached a big field full of waving daisies. There they gently unloaded the little house. They cleaned her up, gave her a new coat of soft pink paint, and they mended her shutters. Before you knew it, she was saying hello to the robins, and she was waving to the daisies. She liked her new home, and never again did she wonder what it was like to live in the city. The end. Do you like that? Yeah? Okay.